got to walk around my room today, and actually during class. I get to do that often, but I didn't have to lecture. I didn't have to full on be on today. And the kids were doing some practice pretty much in every class. And so I got to, eavesdrop, for the lack of a better term. And I like listening to their conversations because some of their conversations are pretty funny. But some of them are, pretty concerning. I'm not going to get into the details of them, but what concerns me most is how they respond. It's never the action, it's always the reaction that gets the most attention. It's always how someone reacts to a problem or a conflict that dictates how usually that's going to go. Several students today were talking about how they do certain things in their own lives. And it made me think about a video that I made, probably, a couple weeks ago about being strategic versus being tactical. A lot of my students are tactical. Boy, they're tactical fighters. That's all they know is short-term wins, short-term thinking, quick in and out, make use of every second because you don't know if you're going to have another one. And winning is the goal. It doesn't matter if who pays the price. It doesn't matter what relationships are severed. It doesn't matter who you take advantage of. It doesn't matter who you hurt. All of those things that someone who thinks more strategic long-term considers when they make a decision. And so I sit back and I begin to man, my own kids don't do that. They they would be this way and that way, and they think a little harder through that. And then I'm like, well, stupid, talking to myself now. They don't know any better. They haven't been shown. They haven't been modeled. A lot of them, now some of them have, but a lot of them have not been shown, have not been modeled. There is no example of how to live long term, how to think and make decisions that will affect them a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. That's not even a concept that they're familiar with. And so in the middle of my judgment, I'm like, hey, you've got to stop. Because you wonder why kids aren't turning in assignments. You wonder why kids don't engage with you in class. You wonder why these are tactical for them. They're tactical wins. They have free time. So why do the assignment? Or I can log on to a meet and not engage and pretty much ghost everyone in the meet and not have to talk, because that's a tactical win for me. I can watch YouTube, I can play my video game, I can do whatever because I'm at home. Even kids in class can get sidetracked that way. And when you stop and think about it for a moment, and I know this causes deep frustration within the teaching community, within educators. I get frustrated, not with the kids. I get frustrated internally. And I'll tell you why here in a second. But I'm sitting there thinking about, man, what do some of my students live like? They're moving every month. Some of them, I know at least 2 of them, live in their car. The only time they eat is when they're at school. So what am I thinking? I'm also thinking tactically now. What am I thinking when I want to judge some kids making stupid decisions? And I call them stupid. They don't know any better. Some of them do. A lot of them do not. not making excuses for them. They know the difference between, getting work done and not getting work done, and the difference between right and wrong. That's basic. But they don't understand why they should do it. Yeah, because he told me to. And I should, do it because they told me to. And I should do it because I'm in school. But how does this benefit me long term when all I see is getting paid, running through the money by 2 weeks later, almost getting kicked out of our house, not being able to turn on the lights, having to move in with grandma, this month, moving into aunt's house. There is no stability, so there is no long term. So when you get a new apartment because you were evicted from your last one and the lease actually goes through, that's a tactical win. Most people would be like, well, why did you get evicted? And why, and they would question the actions that led up to it. My kids are raised, and my own kids are raised differently, but my students are raised in a world that I didn't come from. So then I start looking at my own assignments. I've had 6 assignments this 6 weeks so far in 15 days. And I've the way I've got my module set up in Canvas, dude, it's made a huge difference. But I still have about 6 out of the 60 on-level kids, and usually my pre-AP kids, are pretty solid, but I've got about 6 that have refused to engage, refused to do work. And for me, I've handled that not well over the last 3-6 weeks. I have threatened, I've cajoled, I have emailed parents and depended on them to handle that. Now one of our policies is to, notify an assistant principal through a referral program, and they'll get in touch, and that's after I get in touch again, and email and all this stuff. And I get, we got to have boundaries, we got to have expectations, we got to have, parameters in which kids will operate under. But once again, when 10% of our kiddos, and it's about 10, when 10% of our kiddos do not see the value, the benefit of doing things just because they're told, because it's not a tactical win for them. So how do I get them moving from thinking short term, what's going to benefit me today, to, hey, I need to do this because, a year from now when I'm trying to get into 10th grade, or when I'm trying to do this in my life, it's going to hinge on this piece or this assignment. That's the conversation that has to be shifted. And yes, I know that that's hard, because my ego says, no, I've been teaching for 20 years and I know what I'm doing, and I've been doing this the same way every time, and I'm the teacher, and when I tell you to do something, it's not that hard. You do it. And if you don't, I'm going to throw a 0 in the grade book, and you're on your own, and I'm going to cut you loose. And, if you want to come around and do it on your own, yeah, I'll grade it. But as far as I'm concerned, you've made a decision. Now live with it. That would make me it would make it easier. It wouldn't make me feel better. It would make it easier to do my job that way. It would. But does it fail me? Yes. Does it fail the kid? Yes. Even though they're failing themselves. What do I expect from 10% of my kids? They don't make the right decisions. So, and their parents don't know how to make the correct decisions. They don't. We've seen it from experience. So, who's there? And that would be me. That would be every teacher in their life. And it's frustrating, and it's irritating, and it's tiresome, and all of those things wrapped up. And you can express those things, and I have, doing it right now. But at the end of the day, am I going to sever a kid and cut a relationship up over a piece of paper? No. I'm going to get to work one way or another. I'm going to eventually make it through to these kids, or I'll, like, quote unquote, die trying. Because nobody else is going to do it. Nobody. And that's the way I look at my job on a daily basis. I don't have a savior complex. That's not what this is. I'm not here to save kids. I'm not here to, like, bring them into the new era of enlightenment. That's not what I'm talking about. But I am talking about getting them at least out of my grade level into the next one, so that they have a shot at graduation or a GED or a job that pays more than $10 an hour one day, and so that they can raise a family. And if I can be a part of that, that's what I want to do. And it's hard. And it's sometimes very irritating. And you put up with a lot of mess. And you watch kids make decision after decision that you know is going to destroy their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, that's teaching. I can either throw in the towel and cut that kid loose, or I can look at it as an opportunity and re-engage every single day that I have. I choose the latter.